Good night, everybody. Welcome once again to another Live Vibe Live podcast. I'm your host, Yori Armenkamp, here from Nassau, Bahamas, the beautiful Nassau, Bahamas, on this February 9th of 2024. So thank you for joining me for another Live Vibe Live podcast. If you have not done so, please like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page. That's Line Vibe 77. That's Line Vibe 77 on Facebook and YouTube. And also, there's a donate link in the description. So anything that moves your heart to give to the Line Vibe Live podcast, please click the link. And we will gladly appreciate your support. So thank you for joining me again on this February 9th for Line Vibe Live. We have a few things to talk about tonight. A few things. I don't know if you guys have been following these travel advisories in the Bahamas and Jamaica from the United States. We're just brushing them off, like, oh, yeah, murders are happening here in the Bahamas and Jamaica, and we are on the top 7, countries with the highest murder rates in the world, not just the region, but the world, right? But don't worry about that. They're isolated matters. They're isolated murders. They have nothing to do with tourists, even though just this past week, 2 American tourists claimed they were raped in the Bahamas. But now there's some investigations going on about that, because now they said they were raped by Pirates Cove. That's a resort near the Paradise Island, resort on Paradise Island, I should say. And now surveillance footage has been shown that the women's accounts does not line up with what they said happened to them. In addition to that, the 2 rape victims, right? They refused rape kits from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. They said they weren't given rape kits, but now reports, however, that they refused rape kits from the Royal Bahamas Police Force. So what's going on here? What's happening? Is it an intentional smear campaign by certain nefarious actors to smear the Bahamas? Are these 2 women looking for attention? What's really going on here? Apparently they got this rape kit when they went back to the cruise ship. And they got out of the Bahamas and went back to the cruise ship. So I don't know what's going on, but, our Ministry of Tourism has said that, these crimes are isolated incidents. There's nothing to do with the tourists. These crimes, these murders in particular in the Bahamas, they happen to be gang-related and have nothing to do with the tourist areas. And so it's still safe to come to the Bahamas. I still think it's safe to come to the Bahamas, even though you have some conflicting views, some conflicting information coming out about when these crimes are actually happening. The Jamaica Tourism Board said that these travel advisories, they are not taking into account that these murders and these assaults happen in these very remote areas in Jamaica. They don't happen in the tourist areas. These are, just like the Bahamas, gang-related issues that have nothing to do with the majority of the island. So, I think the United States is over-sensationalizing the murders in particular. I think they are, to some extent. But yes, we do have to get a handle on these murders and this crime wave that's happening inside the Caribbean right now. Because right now, I just heard that in St. Vincent, there was another murder in St. Vincent and the Grenadines just yesterday. A man was shot in front of his daughter. So she has to grow up with her father now. And her mother has to grow up with her husband. When's it going to stop? It's this drug culture, man. We're not going to do anything until this drug culture actually swallows us up whole. It's becoming, it's unbearable. When you have the United States issuing travel warnings, making a big hullabaloo about it, you have to do something about it, because you're going to affect the tourist dollar. You're going to affect the tourism dollar, the tourism money. That's where most of us get most of our money from, man. We have to take it seriously. Anyway, I don't want to make this show about, crime in the Caribbean, but we're going to talk about it later, because we've had Mala Dukaran, a senior economist, regional economist, talk about some of these issues in her annual report. So I'm going to talk about it later. But another story, Nayib Bukele, the sensation of Central America, the Central American sensation. The El Salvadorian president has been returned to power in El Salvador. And what a job he's done in El Salvador, hasn't he? He's cleaned up that country from top to bottom. From top to bottom. And he's rooted up that crime and that gang element. And now El Salvador is one of the safest countries in the world to go to now. In the space of about 4 years, he did that. El Salvador had the highest crime rate in the world at one point in time. But when he came in, the 42-year-old Bukele came in, he cleaned that country top to bottom. He rooted out the crime element. He started putting those gang members in jail by the dozens, by the tens, by the dozens. Now the jail is filled with them. The El Salvadoran jails are filled with MS-13 gang members and other Barrio 18 gang members. because Nayib Bukele has cleaned up the country from these gangs, and he won re-election resoundingly, a resounding landslide, we understand. That's a man who gets things done. And they're trying to label him as a dictator, this and that, blah, blah. So the hell with all of that. He took action with his country. He did something about the crime wave. He did something about the people being hurt. His own citizens being hurt in El Salvador. He did something about it. And I have to praise him. You know, Bukele is a man after my own heart. You know, he took action. And he's from my generation as well. So I'm very pleased with the effort he's done. He's only 42 years old. I'm very pleased with the effort he's done. They also call him the world's coolest dictator. Oh, stop all that BS, man. He is a sound leader who took action on a problem. You know? Yeah, some say he's actually mashed on some human rights. He's actually trampled on some human rights by arresting some of these guys. But here's what, though. El Salvador is clean. The bigger picture is El Salvador is cleaner right now. And you can't deny it. Some of these guys were actual gang members and murderers and killers and thugs. You know, and he took action. He did something about it, man. So, you know, all hail to President Bukele. I promised we were going to come back to the crime issue as well in the region. Mala Dukaran said that despite the Caribbean region, in her annual report, despite the Caribbean region growing by between 2 and 4%, straight across the board, she said there's some issues in the Caribbean that must be addressed. There's some deteriorating social issues. If you go to Caribbean Magazine Plus, you'll see a synopsis of her report, and you'll see exactly what she's talking about, you know. So we have to deal with, first of all, we have to deal with the poverty that we're not measuring here in the region. And she said outside of the Dominican Republic and Jamaica, there's no other country in the Caribbean that actually measures poverty. So if you can't measure poverty, then you can't do anything about it because you don't know exactly where the poverty is. You don't know who's actually below the poverty line. Say that's going to hold back economic growth if we don't know exactly who needs help and how we can get help to those people. And she's right. She's spot on with that. Another thing she mentioned is the crime wave. If it's reaching Mala Dukaran in her economic report, then my God, it's a real problem, man. She only deals with figures and numbers and international affairs, but the crime is stinging to high heaven. What have you guys done? How have you let these beautiful countries and these beautiful islands just slip away from your hands? We need a generational shift in leadership in the Caribbean. I believe so. Look at Bukele in El Salvador and tell me that we don't need a generational shift. We have guys who are still in their 70s and 80s still running these countries. We need a generational shift. We need a mindset shift too. Mala also said that healthcare issues, non-communicable diseases are holding the region back. She said that we have an aging population as well, and on top of the non-communicable diseases, we're killing each other. We're having decreasing populations in some of these countries. Okay? Decreasing populations. So, we're not taking care of this place for even our own selves. What are we doing, man? What are we doing? Are we really looking at what's happening with these Caribbean countries? Are we really looking at what's going on here? Do we really care? Everyone just living, you know, catch freeze, catch can, you know. Hunky-dory, everything's so fine today. Okay, blah, blah, blah. Do we really care about what's going on here in the Caribbean? Do we really care? I mean, the evidence is right there. The evidence is right there in your face. It's so sad we have to deteriorate to this extent. But that's exactly what's happening, man. I don't want to bum you out tonight, man. You know, that's problems. It's Friday, it's the weekend. So, yeah, let's not bum about that. Back to Central America for a second, though. The Panama Canal is seeing increased demand on the back of the Suez Canal political crisis. Okay, so more countries are looking for a fast way to get around the globe. And despite the drought in the Panama Canal, despite not having any water to get the ships into the harbor, and them having to, reduce the amount of ships that come through on a daily basis, they're seeing an increase in demand coming through the Panama Canal because of the political instability in the Middle East with the Suez Canal. You know? So what are we going to do? Climate change is affecting the Panama Canal, and the political crisis is affecting the Suez Canal. We're the perfect storm we're in right now. But they said that they're not going to restrict vessel restrictions. They're not going to have any vessel restrictions until April. So that means that's going to be a free flow from between now until April, until they decide if they're going to reduce more vessels from coming into the Panama Canal. They reduced it from 44 and it's down to 38, I think. 38 ships a day. You know, and so, you know, they're considering whether or not they're going to change it again in April. So we'll see. But I don't think people understand how important this is for global trade. To have these canals, these waterways, you know, block up major shipping ports, man. I mean, everything comes through these ships. I mean, planes can't carry the kind of cargo we need. They have to come through cargo ships. They have to come through ships, container ships. Well, let's hope that they see, you know, so their deputy administrator, Ilya Espino, told Reuters that, you know, hopefully there's going to be no more transit restrictions up until April. So if you go on Caribbean Magazine Plus, you can read that entire story right there. We have it synopsized in the Caribbean Magazine Plus, so go and check that out. Yeah, so the Panama Canal, you know, the Panama Canal, man, in a drought, we're seeing increased demand. That's a good and bad thing, though. But thank goodness that, you know, ships are still coming back to the Panama Canal so we could get our goods on this side of the world. How about that? On to more further story, though. Super Bowl 58 is this Sunday. You know, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, last year's defending champions, going up against the San Francisco 49ers with Brock Purdy, who's becoming a star within his own self. It's going to be Brock Purdy, the quarterback from the San Francisco 49ers, going up against Patrick Mahomes, the new star. If Patrick Mahomes wins this Super Bowl again, he's going to surpass Aaron Rodgers, by far, if he hasn't already done so. Okay? And remember when Aaron Rodgers was the gleaming star for the NFL? After Peyton Manning got injured and couldn't play to the high level that he was supposed to play anymore, and Tom Brady was uncertain whether or not he's going to retire or stay in the league, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be the heir apparent. He's supposed to be the face of the NFL. But Aaron Rodgers turned out to be kind of a flaky, loopy guy. He got traded from Green Bay, and he went to another team. I forgot what team Aaron Rodgers went to. Aaron Rodgers, where is he now? Sorry, one second. I need to do a quick Google search. I haven't watched football this entire year, actually. And I'm a football fan, to be honest, but I haven't watched football this entire year. I may watch a few snaps on Sunday, but I have an exam on Monday, so I can't stay I probably can't go to a Super Bowl party. Let's say that. I'm probably gonna watch at home, watch a few snaps, and see what the game is. And see what the game's like. So he got traded from Green Bay, and where is he now? Where is Aaron Rodgers? He's with the New York Jets. Oh yes, the New York Jets took him up. That's their problem now. And he just got loopy all of a sudden, man. He's a great quarterback, though. He's a great quarterback. But what can you say? But this Super Bowl isn't about Aaron Rodgers. It's about Patrick Mahomes surpassing Aaron Rodgers as the best quarterback in the NFL right now. And Lamar Jackson, he won the MVP for the year. Even though he's not even anywhere near the Super Bowl. He got thrown out. You know, you just can't make it past the divisional finals. You just can't make it to the division finals, man. You can't make it past there. I think the Ravens got kicked out by Ravens. Let's see what happened. They got kicked out by the Chiefs, of all things. So Patrick Mahomes has his number. So yeah, Lamar Jackson can have the MVP, but Patrick Mahomes is going to go on to the Super Bowl, and he has a chance to win his third Super Bowl, man. So there you have it. So that's the Super Bowl 58. You know, I have a problem pronouncing the Roman numerals, so I was searching all night trying to find out exactly what is LVIII. I know I'm retarded, right? LVIII. So I had to actually, you know, find out what is LVIII in Roman in Arabic numerals, because you know our numbers are in Arabic, right? Arabic numerals. So LVIII is Roman numerals, and Arabic numerals is the actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 that we use right now. So LVIII is 58. So we're on the Super Bowl 58. Hope you guys enjoy watching the Super Bowl this Sunday. And actually, Usher is the halftime show. So we've been having a lot of females over the past several years. We had Beyonce. We've had, I think we've had Taylor Swift. We had Rihanna. You know. But now we're going to have Usher as the halftime show. We're going to see exactly what kind of show he puts on. You know, I had a feeling Usher was going to be something special this year because guess what? He kept on trending in my social media. every time I opened my YouTube, there was an Usher video somewhere, or him doing something, or him talking to somebody. So yeah, he's the halftime show. Like I said, I haven't watched football all year. I didn't have time to. I'm a football fan, right? But I just have a chance to, man. But hopefully this Super Bowl is going to be good. I don't want to go and give a pick because, like I said, I've been watching football all year. But I have a feeling that it's going to be a pretty good game. It's not going to be a blowout. Even though this Brock Purdy guy, the quarterback for the 49ers, he's unpronounced. He may have a breakout game. Who knows, right? I didn't even know the San Francisco 49ers were in it. I didn't realize they still had a great team because they were in the doldrums after Colin Kaepernick. And on to more entertainment news, man. Have you guys had a chance to follow this Bob Marley One Love movie that premiered 2 days ago? It's in theaters now, actually. And the star is Kingsley Ben-Adir. Yes, his name, Kingsley Ben-Adir. He is the star. He plays Bob Marley in the Bob Marley One Love movie. And it's a movie around, of course, the life of Bob Marley and his troubles and his trials dealing with the political instability in Jamaica and him growing up and him actually, recording some songs and actually dealing with the political back and forth in Jamaica at a high time when political violence was at an all-time high in Jamaica. Okay? It's a very telling movie from what I understood. I haven't seen it yet. I want to go see it. I probably will go see it. But let's play the trailer. Let's play the trailer so you guys can take a look at what we're looking at here. Let's go here. Let's play the Bob Marley One Love trailer.
Won't you help to sing these songs of freedom? 'Cause all I ever have, redemption songs.
When you write that?
All my life.
Reggae is the people music.
You're a superstar.
I am a superstar. You can't separate the music and the message. You see, reggae music come to unify the people.
Not everyone likes what you're saying. For your own safety, you need to stop.
On December 3rd, 1976, would-be assassins invaded Bob Marley's home and attempted to take the life of the singer, his wife, and...
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that thing. Cause every little thing gonna be alright. You like that one?
Yeah.
There's a war going on. Oh, I can't bring peace. I can't even get peace for myself.
Rise up this morning, smile with the rising sun. Three little birds, it's by my doorstep.
Sometimes
Singing,
the messenger has to become the message.
about a thing.
Bob, I know it's dangerous,
Every little thing gonna be alright.
but you're the only one who can unite the people.
You ready, Bob?
No guns can stop this message. I want the world to change. And that time is now.
This is my message to you.
So there you have the trailer for the Bob Marley One Love movie. It's in theaters on February 14th, actually. They've had some screenings earlier this week, and it's going to be in theaters fully on February 14th. That's Valentine's Day. That's Ash Wednesday as well, too. So yes, I'm probably going to go see that, man. I'm going to see the Bob Marley movie. I've heard a lot about his efforts and his works during the campaign against violence in Jamaica, during the campaign with the election with Edward Seaga and Patrick Manning. Not Patrick Manning, Manley, you know, Norman Manley. So we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see it on February 14th. Well, not on February 14th. We're gonna see it when it premieres. We're gonna see when it actually hits the theaters. Probably that weekend. We're gonna take a look during my midterm break. How about that? Yeah, it's gonna be a good movie, man. From the trailer I saw, good, a good drama. You know, a little bit of action mixed up in it as well too. So that's a Bob Marley One Love movie. Yeah, go and see it, please. Then our last story for the night. You know, I don't know if you guys have been following international news, but the Tucker Carlson interview with Vladimir Putin, the Russian President Vladimir Putin, you know, that sent the media into total frenzy, man. They hated Tucker Carlson for that interview. And all Tucker Carlson did was sit down with Vladimir Putin for 2 hours, and it's his first American interview since this Russia-Ukraine war. And the American media went nuts. They were hating that Tucker Carlson got that interview, and it premiered on X, formerly Twitter. Okay? They were hating on Tucker Carlson for scoring that interview, man. They called him a puppet and a simp for Vladimir Putin and being played by Vladimir Putin. Alright? So, it's about 2 hours, like I always said, and Putin talks about Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. He talked about Russia's expansion into Western Europe, which isn't going to happen, he said. He said he has no interest in going into Poland and any of those other far eastern, Western European countries. He has no interest in going into Poland and Latvia and those former Soviet satellite states. So there's nothing in it there for him, man. He also talked about the release of this Evan Gershkovich, the Wall Street Journal reporter that's been jailed in Russia for the past several months now, for quite some time now. And one of the funny things from the interview was that Putin said he knew Tucker Carlson was trying to get into the CIA. And when Tucker Carlson heard Putin say that, you know, he stood back and he almost in shock. But Tucker kept a straight face and kept it straight, even though he knew that Vladimir Putin knew exactly what Tucker Carlson was all about. He knew exactly who was speaking. Let's play a clip of some of the most choice moments of that interview. I'll show you right now.
There are reports that Elon Musk had already had a chip implanted in the human brain in the USA.
This is from the Telegraph, actually.
What do you think of that?
Well, I think there's no stopping Elon Musk. He will do as he sees fit. Nevertheless, you need to find some common ground with him, search for ways to persuade him. I think he's a smart person, I truly believe he is. So you need to reach an agreement with him because this process needs to be formalized and subjected to certain rules.
One of our senior United States senators from the state of New York, Chuck Schumer, said yesterday, I believe, that we have to continue to fund the Ukrainian effort or U.S. soldiers, citizens could wind up fighting there. How do you assess that?
Well, if somebody has the desire to send regular troops, that would certainly bring humanity to the brink of very serious global conflict. This is obvious. Do the United States need this? What for? Thousands of miles away from your national territory. Don't you have anything better to do? You have issues on the border, issues with migration, issues with the national debt, more than $33 trillion. You have nothing better to do, so you should fight in Ukraine? Wouldn't it be better to negotiate with Russia, make an agreement, already understanding the situation that is developing today, realizing that Russia will fight for its interests to the end?
So I just want to make sure I'm not misunderstanding what you're saying. I don't think that I am. I think you're saying you want a negotiated settlement to what's happening in Ukraine.
Right. And we made it. We prepared a huge document in Istanbul that was initialed by the head of the Ukrainian delegation. He affixed his signature to some of the provisions, not to all of it, He put his signature and then he himself said, "We were ready to sign it and the war would have been over long ago, 18 months ago. However, Prime Minister Johnson came, talked us out of it, and we missed that chance."
Who blew up Nord Stream?
You for sure.
I was busy that day. Nate, do you have I did not blow up Nord Stream. Thank you, though.
У вас лично, может быть, есть алиби, у вас лично.
You personally may have an alibi, but the CIA has no such alibi.
Do you have evidence that NATO or the CIA did it?
Знаете,
You know, I won't get into details, but people always say in such cases, look for someone who is interested. But in this case, we should not only look for someone who is interested, but also for someone who has capabilities.
I just got to ask you one last question, and that's about someone who's very famous in the United States, probably not here, Evan Gershkovich, who's the Wall Street Journal reporter.
Мы столько сделали жестов доброй воли, что, мне кажется, мы исчерпали все лимиты.
We have done so many gestures of goodwill out of decency that I think we have run out of them.
Ни разу не ответил. Но
we have never seen anyone reciprocate to us in a similar manner. However, in theory, we can say that we do not rule out that we can do that if our partners take reciprocal steps. I do not rule out that the person you refer to, Mr. Gershkovich, may return to his motherland. By the end of the day, it does not make any sense to keep him in prison in Russia. We want the U.S. Special Services to think about how they can contribute to achieving the goals our special services are pursuing. We are ready to talk. Moreover, the talks are underway. And there have been many successful examples of these talks crowned with success. Probably this is going to be crowned with success as well. But we have to come to an agreement.
So there you have it. That little mashup was taken from the Telegraph in the UK. And of course, the interview is all over social media. It's on YouTube, it's on Twitter, well, X, and it's on Facebook, the full interview. So you can chop it down yourself. You can take a look at the entire interview. So I don't know if that was going to be bigger than Cat Williams and Shannon Sharp. It was a pretty big interview, man. Tucker scored a big one, man. Like I told you, man, his colleagues and his competitors, they were pissed that he scored that interview with Vladimir Putin. They were pissed. They want that so bad, but they haven't been nice. They haven't been decent enough to actually receive a blessing that great in their careers, right? And Tucker Carlson scored, man. So big up to Tucker Carlson for scoring that interview with Vladimir Putin. So there we have it, man. So let's do a quick recap of what we talked about tonight, man. We talked about the Jamaica and the Bahamas brushing off these U.S. travel advisories because of these high crime rates, these high murders. And there were two female tourists that were actually raped in the Bahamas early on this week. And so, you know, we're finding out more information as that comes down that, you know, surveillance footage has shown that these women weren't actually sexually assaulted. And the police force said they actually refused rape kits from the Bahamas. And the women said that they weren't given any rape kits in the Bahamas. And the police said they refused rape kits. So, wow. So, what's going on there? You know, is it some kind of, you know, nefarious scheme at play to besmirch small countries like the Bahamas and Jamaica? Or, you know, is it something more these women are actually looking for attention? Because, you know, social media is pretty big now, you know. Everyone's attention seeking. Everyone's an attention whore now, right? Everybody wants attention in their 5 minutes of fame. So we'll see exactly what happens. It's not beyond, you know, women to lie that they were sexually assaulted, you know. So let's just keep our lid on that. Let's not blow that one out of proportion. Let's not keep following. We're going to keep following, of course, but we're not going to make much about that. Then we also have in El Salvador, President Nayib Bukele has been returned to power. God bless him. You know, if you don't know, Nayib Bukele is the guy who's been routing up the entire gang culture in El Salvador. He took El Salvador from one of the countries with the highest crime rates to one of the lowest crime rates in the space of about 4 years. He was locking up, you know, MS-13 gang members and Barrio 18 gang members by the dozens. And he has his El Salvador jails filled with these gang members. You know, hats off to Nayib Bukele, the El Salvador president, who was reelected with a landslide. People love him in El Salvador. He cleaned up the streets. People can walk the streets in El Salvador now, man. Thank God, you know. Then we also had Mala Dukuran, our Caribbean regional economist, talking about the dangers to the growth that we will see in 2024. She predicts that growth will be anywhere between 2% and 4% for the Caribbean and almost all the Caribbean countries. But she said that, you know, high crime, you know, non-communicable diseases and an aging population, in addition to us not tracking poverty properly, where we can actually deal with poverty more resolutely, they're going to be a drag on the growth that we're going to receive in 2024. And, you know, she's a very well-respected regional economist and a very respected global economist as well. She knows her work. So we take her words as they are. And like I say, she normally doesn't talk about these micro issues. She talks about the big issues like tax and the OECD and international trade. That's what she really talks about. So for her to get down to the level where we have to talk about crime affecting, you know, our largest sectors in our industry, we have to take it seriously, man. That's Mala Dukuran there talking about her annual economic report for the Caribbean. Then we also had the Panama Canal is seeing increased demand despite having no water to get the ships into the canal zone. They're having increased demand because the Suez Canal is being, I would say, under political pressure, whereas they have a lot of people now, the political instability in the Suez Canal region in the Middle East. And so people are looking for alternative routes to get their goods around the world. So the Panama Canal is the next canal, even though it's on the other side of the world. But it actually cuts transit down a lot. If you want to get it from, let's say, from Eastern Europe or China to the America and vice versa. Okay? So the Panama Canal has to work. Even though they cut down the amount of transit ships from 44 to 38, they said they're not going to reduce any more transit ships until April. If they have to reduce them in April. They're waiting on the rainy season to happen again in April. So they're going to keep levels as it is. The amount of ships they're going to allow on a daily basis, they're going to keep it as it is. There's going to be no more transit restrictions in the Panama Canal zone. Thank God. I don't think we understand how important this is for global trade. And how much your goods are being priced so high because we can't get goods from China to the United States and vice versa. It's a serious matter, man. So let's keep our eyes on that, please. Also, Super Bowl 58 is on Sunday. We have the San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. The defending champions, Kansas City Chiefs. The quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, is going up to against Brock Purdy from the San Francisco 49ers. And notice, anyway, I didn't mention the other side story to the Super Bowl, the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift love relationship. And that's going to take away from the Super Bowl. I don't know why women do that to us, you know. They do it to us. We're having a football game, and we're talking about a love affair between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Women have a knack of doing that, man. You know, it's taking the attention away from serious matters onto themselves. It doesn't matter if she's a world famous pop star like Taylor Swift, or she could be a run-of-the-mill girl down the street, you know, or to take the attention away from what we're doing onto them. That's how women are, man. So try to watch the game in between the love affair between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. And you have to blame him too, you know, but I can't really blame him because he's picking up a premium woman, man, premium tail. You know, it's a step up from what he had before. His Kayla Nicole girlfriend, who he said he had to pay thousands of dollars to be around. And he had to maintain her. But of course, he doesn't have to maintain Taylor Swift at all. She pays her own bills. She actually likes being there and being seen with him. So she's into the fame. She's into the fame. So yeah, hopefully I'm not going to watch the entire game. I'm going to be studying. I'm going to watch a few snaps every now and then. I'm not going to any Super Bowl parties either. I'm just going to try to watch the game peacefully at home. A few snaps, I should say, at home. Then we have the Bob Marley One Love movie that's coming out on February 14th in theaters. We have Bensley King Adair, a new star that's on the scene now, and he's playing the Bob Marley role. And it's a biopic about Bob Marley's life during his time when he had to actually bring healing to Jamaica during the political tensions and turmoils between Norman Manley and Edward Seaga. That when the political violence in Jamaica was at an all-time high. Bob Marley had to bring the nation together. He had survived an assassination attempt on him and his family. And so the movie talks about all of that. You know? And brings in all of his wife, Rita Marley, and his son Ziggy and the rest of those other boys too. So yeah, it's going to be on February 14th. So I'm going to have a chance to see it during my midterm break. I'm going to take a chance to see it. I have to support our Caribbean brothers and sisters, and Bob Marley is one of them. He's one of our shining examples of the Caribbean. So we have to support Bob Marley. Lastly, we also talked about Tucker Carlson's interview with Vladimir Putin, and he scored it, and he had the entire media corps pissed red. They said, how did Tucker Carlson get used like a puppet by Vladimir Putin? What's wrong with the interview? Why are people analyzing these interviews? I mean, he only sat down and had a conversation with Putin, you know. They're mad because they didn't have an interview. Because what they were going to do, the reason why Putin didn't want to talk to you is because you're probably going to insult the man. And he didn't want to go through that with any of you guys. That's like every time you have a chance to insult Donald Trump and you interview him, and Donald Trump still graciously grants you the interview because he's an American, he believes in American media, even to the little extent that he does. But no one has to sit down with you. They're just mad because Tucker Carlson scored the interview. Like, what do you expect Tucker Carlson to do? Reach over and shoot Vladimir Putin in the face? What kind of interview did you want? Let's be real now, man. Like I said, Tucker Carlson and Vladimir Putin talked about a whole host of issues, from the Evan Gershkovich, journalist from the Wall Street Journal, that's been locked up in Russia for the past several months. They also talked about Russia's invasion of interest in Western Europe, in Poland and Latvia, which Putin said he has no interest in those countries because they contain nothing for Russia. We also talked about Elon Musk as well, how he called Elon Musk unstoppable for his Neuralink chip. All right. The Neuralink chip is that chip that he puts into your brain that you actually could remotely program and tell your devices what to do from a remote place in your brain. Isn't that amazing? You know, Elon Musk is just one of those guys that's taking science to a whole new level. We didn't talk about him tonight, and this wasn't a part of my show run, but you know, I just have to mention him on the side, you know, since Vladimir Putin brought him up. So that Neuralink, man, he has put that chip into your brain, and you can turn your phone on, you can turn your computer on just by thought. That's amazing. Do we know what just happened in this world? That's amazing. You know what that'll do for things like people who have like dementia and all other sorts of diseases? You know what that'll do for them? The Putin interview with Tucker Carlson is on X, formerly Twitter, and Facebook and YouTube. The video is being shared widely now. So there's a whole 2-hour interview so you can see the whole thing. Well, that's our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining me for another Live Vibe Live podcast. I hope to see you guys again next week, Friday, as we log on. And please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube page. That's Live Vibe 77. That's Live Vibe 77 on Facebook and YouTube. Please like, share, and subscribe. It helps us to get our message out there to all our other people around there who need to know what's happening in the Caribbean. They need to know what I have to say about things in the world, huh? So thank you once again for joining me for another Live Vibe Live podcast. We're probably going to have another interview, not this weekend. We're probably going to do one the next 2 weeks from now. We're going to live some more guests. So please go to our YouTube page and Facebook page. You'll see our slate of interviews. And so we gladly allow you, we would gratefully appreciate if you go and you check those videos out. So thank you so much for joining me again for another Live Vibe Live podcast. This is Yori Armin Kemp here from Nassau, Bahamas. Good night.